Okay, we should be live now. Hello, everybody. I'm just gonna double check that everything is good to go.
Right.
Um, hey Sergio, how you doing?
Good, man. Good. Doing all right.
Nice.
Surviving, but
Surviving.
I'm doing great. Yeah.
We're all surviving in this COVID situation.
Yeah.
Um, nice. The live video is on. Awesome. Hello, everybody. This is the seventh episode of my little improvised live stream show, the Messy Desk series. And I'm really stoked to have Sergio here with me this time.
Awesome.
And yeah, I mean, we met this past summer at a festival slash workshop thing that Renee Izquierdo put on in Spain.
Yes.
Um, and yeah, a fast friendship was formed, I would say.
Yes. Yes.
But can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself before we share some playing of yours?
Sure. Well, my name is Sergio Hernandez. I'm originally from Mexico, born and raised, and then I came to the U.S. to study music. I started studying guitar. Well, I started learning guitar when I was about 15, and I started with folk, popular like Mexican music. So just playing chords and strumming, uh, singing. I was never a good singer, but tried. And then I really liked it, and I just started kind of picking up classical guitar from my teacher. Um, and then after that, I started getting a little more serious, and maybe about 16 or 17 years old, I started studying with the teacher at the university, at the U.S. University in Brownsville, Texas. His name is Dr. Jonathan Dotson. He he was a founding member of the Texas Guitar Quartet.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, I'm not too sure if he had just finished his doctorate or he was already done, but he uh, moved to Brownsville to start teaching at the university. At that time, it was UT Brownsville
Mm-hmm.
combined with Texas Southmost College. Then they separated. Then it was UTB. So UT Brownsville, and then they combined colleges with another institution, UT institution, and now it's currently UT Rio Grande Valley. But so I
Cool.
started studying with him during my 16. I was 16, 17, 18 years old, and then I started enrolled in the university for music education actually, and I studied with him and Dr. Michael Quantz at UTB/UTRGV. Um, Finished my education degree in 2016. Music education with focus on classical guitar. Um, During those years, maybe my junior year of college, I had the opportunity to go to Spain to René's workshop. I think it was his second one or third one. I think
Which
it was
was
the
this last one we went to then? Which iteration was this? Like, he's
I
been
don't
doing
know.
it now for how many years?
I think his first one, I may be wrong, but it must have been 2014.
Okay. And for everyone who's interested, look up the Carillon de los Condes
Yes.
guitar workshop.
Wh- Yeah. Yeah.
Really good time, and yeah, awesome sessions and awesome place to be.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So you met him there then?
Yeah. So my teacher went in 2014, and he met René.
Okay.
He came back, and then normally he was like, "Dude, René, bro, right? Like he's amazing. You should look him up." And I did, and then my teacher, Dr. John Dotson, helped me collect some funds and some scholarships to go to Spain. So I went, and then I met René, and I mean it was, uh, he's a tough guy, but he's amazing,
Mm-hmm.
great teacher, helped me a lot. So during those it's 7 days long, but it's very intense. So those 7 days I was working a lot on improving technique and just kind of uh, a little sense of like what the real world in guitar is, like the real classical world, meaning like it's they're amazing out there. There's amazing people out there. playing and just being really good. So
Yeah.
um,
So, and you did a master's with Renee then, right? So.
yeah, so I went in 2015. I went in 2016 again, and then that was my senior year of my undergrad. And then I was like, look, I want to go join your program. And then he was like, yeah, I think I can work with you. And then I graduated in December 2016, and in January 2017 I was already here. So I started in spring.
Nice.
Which was, yeah, I started in spring to my master's, and I graduated just in May 2019. So it took
So
me.
you're a master of music now.
I am.
That makes two of us. Yeah, 2 masters. Wow, what a stream.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. Well, let's hear a little bit of your playing. Also, I just have to point out that Steve Cowan was like the first one to comment in like the first 5 seconds. So well done, Steve. I'm very proud of you. And
Thank you.
hi to everyone who's watching. Hi, Andrew. We also met Andrew in Spain.
Yeah. He's in Texas now, I think, right?
Yeah, I think so. Well, he was supposed to be
He's from
studying in
Texas.
Glasgow. Or no, he finished there. I don't know. Whatever. Andrew, tell us what your status is. Okay. So we're going to play a recording of yours actually first, and you're going to play live a little bit later. But what's this recording we're going to listen to?
Is it the Scarlatti?
Yes, yes. You got it right.
Scarlatti.
Right answer.
Scarlatti Sonata 208.
Yeah. And whose arrangement is this?
This is Brouwer's arrangement.
Oh, cool.
Leo Brouwer's arrangement. And there's some corrections in some harmonies that René told me to change.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of his input as well.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Brouwer's arrangements of Scarlatti, there's some liberties for sure in some of them.
Yeah. And then the ornaments are fun. Like they're little.
Yeah.
I don't know if exaggerated is the right word, but they're very.
Yeah. Well, have you heard that recording of Brouwer playing the chaconne?
I don't think no.
It's on YouTube. If someone who's watching can go find this video or this audio recording on the YouTube of Brouwer playing the chaconne, it's pretty incredible to listen to because the ornaments are so exaggerated. It's like. So if someone puts it in the comments, I think everyone will appreciate it. But let's listen to your Scarlatti now, okay? All right, Scarlatti time. Nice job, man. Sounds great.
Thank you.
Nice. I'm just going to plug in my Ethernet cable because I realize it's not plugged in and my Wi-Fi is not that good, so I hope this doesn't interrupt anything.
Hopefully it doesn't.
Hopefully. Awesome. Well, that sounded great.
Thanks, man. Thanks, I appreciate it. I really enjoy that piece.
Yeah, it's
Really
super
like letting it go.
super beautiful. Yeah. Awesome. So we heard a lot about your kind of like background and stuff before this. But like, do you want to talk a little bit about your current situation? What are you working on? I mean, I guess the coronavirus situation is kind of put a stop to any like performing or anything. But like, what are your goals? What kind of rep are you playing? Why are you playing it? Like, and you're teaching a lot, you said. So like, what is your goal with that? And
so I finished just in May last year my master's. So since then because I'm from Mexico, I get a 1-year permit to work in the U.S.
Okay.
So I decided to stay here in Milwaukee, and I still work with Rene Izquierdo a lot.
Mm-hmm.
on So I get lessons from him, which is like amazing. Thank you. Thanks, Rene, for that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I've been focusing a lot on teaching. I am lucky enough to have like really good students,
Mm-hmm.
which I like to work with and just trying to push them as much as I can. So a lot of what I've been doing in this past year has been a lot of teaching, learning how to teach better, learning different methods and just ways to deliver the information
Effectively, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's been working. I think some of my students are doing really good. All of them are great.
Mm-hmm.
And some are doing like really good, so I'm very happy. So yeah, a lot of teaching lately during the current situation with the COVID-19 virus thing. Everything moved online, so I've been teaching online.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
I haven't lost a job, so that's really great.
Yeah.
So yeah, just transitioning online was a bit difficult, but it forced me to learn to use a computer to kind of move things around and make it work. So it's actually been pretty okay. Been enjoying it. But yeah, it gets a little tiring watching a screen for like 6 hours in a day or 4 hours at a time. It's like, oh god.
Same here. I'm doing the same. I'm teaching like most of my students stayed, and so there's a lot of online, and then you're doing this kind of stream, and then you're watching other people's live streams. It's just a lot of screen time.
Yeah.
But we all want to connect with people somehow, so you know.
Yeah. And I still was able to get some lessons from Rene even online, so that's also great. Rep, I played my recital, and I think I kept maybe 40% of my recital pieces that I really liked and I felt I should keep. And then I learned, I've been working on the Tedesco Tarantelle.
Oh, I love that piece.
For some time now. Yeah, that's a difficult piece. So
yeah,
still a work in progress. Sorry. I learned Seis por Derecho, which is one of those pieces that I always wanted to learn, and never seemed the right time, and maybe it was too difficult at some point, and then I was like, I should just kind of fight through it. So I learned that. I'm working on that as well, and then another Scarlatti sonata for 91, which is haven't heard a lot of recordings in guitar of it. I'm playing David Russell's arrangement, so he has a recording of it, which is excellent. And I know Marchione has one too, but I think he's in a different key.
Probably, yeah. Carlo's always changing keys. I remember when I played Scarlatti for him last year, I arranged K77, which is not very often played. I think Johann Fostier has like a really old version of just one half of this sonata, and I brought it to him, and it's in D minor, so I had it in drop D, just like I was just me being dumb. I was like, drop D, it'll make sense. And I brought it to him, and I brought like the original piano score,
right,
or keyboard score, and then he was like, what if we put the third string in F sharp? And then he just read it from the keyboard score. He's like, oh, I've never played this one, but he's like, what if we put the third string in F sharp? And he played it like perfectly, and he's like, what if we make it actually in like E minor, but keep it in drop D, and then he played it with F sharp, third string F sharp in E minor with drop D from the piano. Like, it's just like, and then he's like, go home and change the key, it'll be better, and it was better. He was right.
Yeah.
But yeah, but anyways, the key thing is a problem. I mean, what key do you pick, right?
Yeah. But yeah, that, and I think I've been kind of trying to read the Primavera Porteña
Oh, cool.
by the Sergio Assad version. So it's like it's a great piece. So I'm excited to keep working on it, but
Cool.
it's still very, very much a work in progress. Yeah.
Nice. Sounds like great music to be working on. It's wonderful.
Yeah, I think I have a problem with choosing like kind of like compact pieces, but very like difficult, and I should really work on a big multi-movement piece.
I mean, yes
I
and
mean,
no.
they're both good and bad. Yeah, I know there's good and bad things on it, but I think I don't think I have much experience working on multi-movement.
Like large scale works, yeah.
Yeah.
I think so, but I kind of wonder if, like, as performers, it's more. I think maybe too many of us play too many large works, for like concerts and stuff. I think a program of smaller pieces can be very effective if it's done right.
Yeah. A lot more diverse or contrasting.
Yeah.
The contrast can be more easily achieved, but
Yeah.
And for some reason I love Scarlatti, man. I don't know why.
Yeah.
So I'm always like, I hear this another sonata, and I'm like, oh, I want to learn that. And then I look back and I'm like, man, I've learned like 6.
Yeah.
I don't play all 6 still, but like I've learned 6 or 7 sonatas.
Yeah.
I liked all of them. And
They're great.
so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and you can do a lot of adapting things to your own
Yeah.
taste with those transcriptions. Cool. I mean, it's great it's great that you're developing a strong studio. Also, I think not enough people when they graduate realize how important that is.
Yeah. And I think I realized I really like it. I really enjoy it, and I think part of it is I don't know, just helping them. I think knowing that like I worked and I still work on pretty hard on things, almost catching up, because we have all these musicians that start at age like 2.
Yeah. Well, when did you start?
15. So
yeah. So that's pretty late.
Too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not as late as me, but still.
Yeah. But there's some things that like they don't come as natural to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the fact that someone was able to explain them to me, and I had time to digest and understand, it's much easier for me to tell someone else.
I have this feeling all the time, because I started when I was 19, and so I didn't even play guitar until I was 19, but then classical guitar when I was like 20, so I really had to learn a very analytical phase. Like, it wasn't, none of it was very intuitive,
Right.
And even though now it's kind of intuitive, I think, and I'm not saying that people who start when they're really young can't be good teachers, because they can analyze how to teach as well. But I just think that when you start at that age, as a teenager or a young adult, then you have a little more awareness of some of the steps you had to take.
Yeah. I like to think about it like as how do you explain walking?
Yeah.
It's something that you've done so long. I don't know. You put 1 foot forward, And I sometimes think like those some musicians that started when they were like 2 or 3 or 4,
Mm-hmm.
and you tell them, how do you do this? They're like, ooh, I don't know.
Yeah, it's always done it.
Yeah, it's to them, it's like a lot of things are second nature.
Yeah.
And so I feel lucky that someone like Rene was able, and all my teachers were able to explain things, and that just makes me feel like I can, a good teacher, that I can explain things or try to explain things in that way. So
what I appreciate is that because I started so late and I had to deal with so many of the roadblocks of like the early years of playing when I was already older, I think then when I have students, especially adult students, I don't know if you find this, but adult students have a lot of like complexes around like their progress, how fast they progress. they feel so discouraged so easily because they're already adults and they feel like I should be able to do this, you know.
Yeah.
So even if they're just doing it as amateurs, like not necessarily people who want to be like professionals, but like even just people who want to just play, and then they feel like, oh, I'm just too old, I can't learn it, that kind of thing. You know, you hear that so much, and I think people who start a little bit later also have a chance to, and other people too. Everyone can do this as a teacher, but I think that it's important to be able to communicate to students like that. You know, the actual pathway, what it actually takes, and have realistic expectations of themselves, because otherwise they just quit. Like a lot of adult students, I've had ones where I've tried my hardest to explain that and they still doesn't work out, you know.
Right. Yeah.
I think for that reason, because they just get so discouraged, right? And so
you have to count some physical limitations as well with some students.
Yeah, it's true. But I mean, like, I just know what it's like to be, like, in your early 20s and playing for 3 or 4 years and still, like, being unable to execute, like, basic things, you know? Because it just takes, 3 years of playing guitar to get, like, good at basic stuff like arpeggios or other things, you know? Like, it just...
Right. So, lately, maybe in the past, year and a half, I've finally been able to do some, like, self-analysis of, like, my movements and like what's wrong with that arpeggio, what's wrong with some puzzle. I mean, it's still not perfect, of course, but I've been starting to get that sense of like thinking of movements and all that stuff. So a lot of it comes from like my teaching, of course, like my my education that I received.
Yeah, of course. I think
and all my teachers. Yeah.
For me, with technique, it's been, I think for a lot of people it's been a journey of kind of taking what works from every situation and every class and every teacher and every colleague, you know?
Yeah.
And you kind of collect little things along the way.
Yeah.
And you do have some teachers who really help you, like, get that analysis you're talking about, like where you look at your hands and you actually can analyze all the movements and break it down. But at the same time, even with a teacher like that, there's always going to be something that they say that doesn't make sense to you maybe at that moment. But later you hear someone else say it in a different way and it makes sense, or you just notice it in your own playing, and I don't know. Yeah. It's a long process.
A lot of times they tell me something and maybe I do it, like physically I do it, and then like weeks or months later I'm like, like it clicks mentally, you know, like I'm able to do it maybe physically, and then it clicks mentally and you're like, yes, you know. You
But, you know, also teaching really helps with that, because when I have students, again, even students who aren't trying to be professionals or just want to learn to play guitar, reinforcing the basic motions with students also reminds me a lot of what I need to do, and not just reminds me, but helps me figure out new things of how to, like, trying to communicate that helps me gain more analytical tools for myself, so.
And also it keeps you honest.
Yeah, it's true.
Because you're like, do I do that?
Do I do that? No.
So I try every lesson, especially with like my more advanced students. I'm like, no, slower, and no, think this and do it like this, and oh, you didn't prepare enough, and then I'm thinking like, I don't do this.
Exactly. Or you see them messing up, and you're like, you really need to practice in this way to fix that particular thing, and then in your head you're like, oh, there's this passage in this piece I'm playing right now where that's happening, and that's why it's happening. I mean, so, the true art of being a professional, I guess, is knowing to what extent of those things you can actually fix with the time you have, right? But
but I also I often think of this phrase as do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah.
So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, we're gonna get to one of our more fun segments here. Actually, first before we play the repertoire game, I'm gonna ask you my gotcha question. You ready?
Your what question?
My gotcha question. The question that I ask every guest that's supposed to stump them.
Okay.
How do you define classical guitar?
Wow, that's
Or how would you explain classical guitar?
In which way? I mean, it sounds like a very existential question.
What is the meaning of classical? No.
Yeah.
I mean, what? Yeah. So, what is classical guitar? Like, if you had to define it very clearly.
Well, I guess it's just a medium. It's a medium. I mean, at the end, you want to hear music, and I think classical guitar is a medium, or it should be, for that. That's the true reason is, I think the goal for everyone is not to consider themselves guitarists, but to consider themselves musicians.
Right.
So they see like the classical guitar, as close as we are to them, as much as we love it, I think it should be
a tool or something.
As a tool, yeah. And I mean, of course, there's a million things to explore, and then a million things that are good, and some limitations and all that. But at the end, yeah, I think it should be a tool to make music and I guess express. Very cheesy, it's very all great, but yeah, I guess to some sort of express, and then yeah, I mean, there's a lot of options for the guitar, but yeah, maybe just a tool.
A tool, okay. But I mean, what differentiates classical guitar from other kinds of guitar or other kinds of music?
The classical.
Like, how do you define it as opposed to like fingerstyle guitar or rock guitar?
I guess the approach.
Okay.
The approach of I mean, at least for example, for classical guitar, even though it's a relatively new, I guess, taught instrument, like in terms of like being in conservatories and things like that, it's relatively new compared to other instruments. But I think in the guitar realm, it's probably the one that has kind of the oldest
tradition.
Tradition, yeah. So there's the approach, I guess, would be a little bit more structured. If you want to play classical guitar, there's like a process, or like a, you first you sit down properly and you use a footstool this way and things like that. And whereas I've encountered when I teach, like when a student tells me, like, look, I just want to play and sing, and I'm like, all right, so just get your guitar. I guess I'm not as concerned that they're having their shoulders leveled and sitting properly, and when whereas if someone tells me I want to play classical guitar, it kicks in like that tradition, education, and I was like, all right, this is what you're gonna do. And
well, I think for me with students, it comes down to what their goal is of what they want to be able to play. I think for classical guitar music, you need that posture, you need
exactly
all those things, like it's a matter of necessity, and which is why, of course, technique can never be a one size fits all, right? Not in every situation.
Yeah, and precisely that is like when if someone tells me that they want to play chords, I'm not gonna be like, this is I, okay, you're gonna put on the string and plug it, because they want to strum, they want to just jam out and have fun and all that. So I think that the approach also makes the classical guitar, I guess, separates it a little bit.
I suppose so. I mean, I find for myself teaching, like, I just always am trying to figure out what's the musical goal that the student has and that I have, and I try to hold them to a high standard no matter what they're doing.
Right.
So even if they're playing chords, like if they're doing like Sultans of Swing by Dire Straits and they're doing the accompaniment, I'm going to teach them to do a proper raschiato because it sounds like what Mark Knopfler's doing,
Right.
with his fingers on that or whatever. And I'm going to use technical exercises, and we're going to talk about CIM,
right.
like all this stuff. So
Yeah.
But then again, it really does depend completely. But
you see, that approach comes from your classical training.
Yeah, but I feel like a good musician in any tradition should be doing that. Like,
yeah, it's coming. I mean, it's not existent. It does exist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Maybe it's just not as.
Yeah, I think the methods of communication are different, but
But
good musicians within any genre, any style, will be doing that kind of analytical work.
Yeah.
Like you look at like a band like Periphery or Animals as Leaders, they're doing that kind of work, but just in a different medium.
Right.
And they might communicate with tabs and other things and different vocabulary, but yeah. Anyways, interesting, cool. Well, let's get to our repertoire guessing game. You ready, Sergio? Do you know what this is?
Let's go.
Okay. Here is the part of the show where normally we would play the repertoire guessing game, where I embarrass the guest by playing clips from guitar recordings and having them guess the piece, composer, and player, and we talk about the music. Unfortunately, YouTube and/or Naxos, the label where many of the recordings come from, automatically block my videos when I do this due to copyright claims. Even though I know that short clips of copyrighted content are allowed under fair use when they are being used for commentary and/or education. Due to this delightful roadblock from our benevolent YouTube overlords, we'll be skipping this section, but if you'd like, you can check out the full stream with the repertoire guessing game on Facebook through the link below in the description box. Now, back to our fascinating guest. So, Sergio, in the end, you did pretty well, I have to say.
Cool.
Do you want to hear the final score?
Yeah, sure.
You can say no if you want. So in the first category, you got 7 out of 9. It's pretty good. Second category, you also got 7 out of 9. And in the last category, you got 4 out of 9.
4.
Yeah, it's not bad. Nice work. Breaking even.
Floating by, you know.
Floating by. Okay, you gonna play us some music now?
Just like my degrees.
Just like the story of my life. I think now do you want to do Barrios or do you want to do Brouwer?
Maybe Barrios.
Barrios. Okay. So you're gonna play first, or we're gonna play this recording? Because there's 2 waltzes. One is recorded. One you're gonna play. Why don't you play first?
Sure.
And then we'll play. So what are you playing here?
I'm gonna play waltz number 3
by Barrios. Awesome.
Barrios.
Nice. And why do you play this piece?
It's really beautiful. I really like it.
A good reason.
Yeah, I don't have much of a kind of beyond that reason. I just really liked it. It's a nice piece. I think it's probably under the suggestion of my teacher also, René, because I did play number 4 for a while, and then he was like, "You should play both of them." I was like, "Yeah."
Cool.
Yeah, and I heard it, and then working on it, you like it more and more and more. So.
Cool. Awesome. All right, let's hear it. Very nice. Awesome.
Thanks.
Nice work. Sounds great. And now we're going to listen to some more Barrios, and this is number 3, right?
The one I played is number 3. The one in the recording is number 4.
Number 4. Nice. Okay, so let's listen to a little more Barrios before we go on here. Nice.
Thank you.
Awesome. I love that one too. You have good taste.
Yeah,
Big
thanks.
good pieces.
Thanks. I think a lot of it is suggestions that my teacher gives me, but I think that one also number 4 was under the suggestion of another teacher. I think maybe now I'm starting to kind of choose a little bit more under what I want, you know, which is like the sexto derecho. I chose it. I wanted to play it. So I was like, learned it, and then So I think definitely just starting now, I'm starting to get a little bit of sense of more independence and be like, this is what I want to play, and just do it and start working on it.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, I mean, different teachers have different approaches, right? Carlo, as a master student, at least he doesn't suggest or impose any rep for us.
Right. Yeah.
We choose all of it, but I know different teachers are different about that. So.
Yeah, I think I probably I asked for them, and I'm pretty sure I asked for it just because I was like, I don't want to hinder my playing while I do it. You know, I want something that and most often than not, and I think as a teacher you would identify as like, you know what the capabilities of your students are. You know how far you can push them, because at the end you want them to play it good, or you know, to enjoy it. So I think I asked for it mostly because of that, because I was like, I think you have a better idea of where I am and where you want me to go, and then maybe this piece is not gonna work out, and so I think that's why I started asking a lot of suggestions in my earlier years to like, what should I play, what can I learn, or is this too hard, is this too easy, and things like that. So
Yeah, for sure. How do you approach practicing, Sergio?
Well, I think for me, and it's probably very personal, but I think I need to have some sort of my day has to have been already going, like I need to do something before I start practicing. I'm not a morning person, as far as like I can sit down in the morning with a cup of coffee and just warm up or practice.
Except in Carrion.
Yeah, I was forced to do it because I knew at night it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
After the concert, it was a gone day. But yeah, so I think I like to do some sort of activity before I maybe go for a walk or exercise a little bit or something. And then I feel maybe wakes me up a lot more. And I think I like to do that more, like kind of practice it very awake, rather than like wake up with the guitar. It's something that I do want to try the other way around. I want to see what it is to like wake up and kind of warm up with the guitar, kind of wake up with the guitar, warming up and things like that. I'm very much a night person, so I start practicing like late, like 7, 8, 9, 10, and then I go, depending if I'm very tired, I'll stop maybe at midnight. If I'm not very tired, I'll go like 2 in the morning or something like that.
Yeah, I do that sometimes. I'm much better at practicing at night too, but I do like morning practice when I can do it. But I do better in the evening for sure, or the afternoon. Afternoon is the best time for me. Yeah.
And I like to do technique a lot. I think I work on a big part of it is I do a lot of Carlevado arpeggios with different combinations with the thumb. I don't know if you I don't know how.
Yeah, I do the Carlevado. I do the first 3 groups not every day. I do one of the groups every day, basically.
Right. Yeah.
And I rotate them.
Yeah, because you can spend like hours on those formulas, you know. So.
Yeah. Do you have any tips for arpeggio practice for people? Or an exercise, or just demonstrate the Carlevado. I mean, I think a lot of people know them, but still, it can't hurt to demonstrate.
Yeah. So basically, I do the Carlevado. I put a mute. Maybe that helps a lot, just to put a mute, so you can hear the attack of the strings rather than the sound just kind of getting on the way or reverbing too much. So the Carlevado, the first one I think is this. So doing the switching from arpeggio to single string helps me a lot.
Oh, is that specified in the book or no?
It is. So I think the whole book is those. Well, most of it is it's those same formulas just with different permutations.
I didn't read though carefully enough to see that he specifies that you should do it on.
And then with the thumb, with having different rhythms in the thumb, so eighth notes. And then so all of the rhythm permutations, so dotted. Then the other one.
That's intense.
Yeah. Those basically take it like a good hour to just to kind of get through those, even just starting with A, you know.
Yeah. And do you I mean I
try to rotate.
Yeah, I try to rotate them because I just personally don't feel like just hammering one exercise for so long. Well, it can be beneficial, but
Yeah.
I mean I try to incorporate a little bit of every kind of technique in my work. You know.
And I do also a lot of or I try to do a lot of
Yeah.
just
There's that one Alan Neve showed us. Do you remember the one that you walk with two fingers up and down, like you coordinate the right hand, and it's always going. It's like an arpeggio in the right hand, but then the left hand is doing like 1 2 1 2 1 2 like this across the strings.
Okay.
That Alan showed us.
That one. I remember that class. I don't
Yes,
remember
that one.
very much.
Is that one?
Just like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the one. And then you do like 1 3 1 3 1, like all the different permutations.
And then I've also lately done the budonis. You ever done the vertical exercises?
Yes, but only once. Like I should incorporate them in.
Yeah, and I mean they get pretty difficult, especially with like planting 3 or planting 4.
Who Bordoni is the?
Yeah, Evangelos Budonis.
Budonis, okay.
Yeah, I've never heard of him until I started with Rene. That's one of the books. So, yeah, we're very fortunate here in Rene's studio because he does twice a week technique class. So
cool.
Mondays and Wednesdays. So like pretty much like in Spain.
Yeah.
But every Monday and Wednesday. So
that's
it can
cool.
be quite brutal as far as like just playing, and you walk out like tired. And, you have your lesson right after. Like good luck.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, I think I try to approach technique just thinking more about it as I try not to do just playing anymore, to just like hammer through exercises because it's starting to become just kind of pointless. So I try to do specifics, and if I see a particular combination that it's not quite as good or it feels out of control, then I'll zone in on that and then try to approach it 20 different ways instead of kind of hammering like for speed or things like that. I do dotted rhythms, and I do different kinds of planting, and just focus on that.
I mean, I feel like technique should be very time specific in the sense of like what time it is in terms of your development and what you need, and at the same time you have to maintain. So for me, I feel like there's about a 30-minute warm up and technique routine at the beginning of the day, or 20-minute. That's like maintenance, where I play like little etudes and stuff, like Brouwer 6, like that kind of thing, just to maintain and I do those Carlovaro things and like the walking stuff and some slower stuff to maintain stuff. But then I have usually I've picked out multiple sections from the pieces I'm working on where I feel like my technique is weaker, and then I either make exercises out of those, or I have exercises that work on those specific things. But I feel like it has to morph constantly. Yeah,
definitely. There's more kind of focus on that.
And I think every player has to learn how to do that, how to check in with yourself on what am I actually working on? Is it an effective use of my time?
Yeah. But I think now I think because I feel like I have enough, a bunch of time or enough time.
Yeah.
I will sit down for a good hour, sometimes more, to just work on some technique, and I go through the things that I can remember, a bunch of arpeggios, and then some chromatic scales, chromatic octaves, and just synchronization. Also, a lot of just left hand, right hands, which is basically playing guitar, right?
Yeah. I was gonna say.
Put down and play, and that's it.
Yeah.
So yeah, try to work on synchronization, but I mean, it can always be better.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's. But I think I also sometimes need to force myself to just let it go and be like, you need to start practicing your pieces, man. Like, 'cause
Yeah.
it's a rabbit hole sometimes where you can just do scales for like 2 hours, and then all
I
of a sudden
remember.
you're like, oh.
Yeah, I remember Toma telling me there was some person he knew who did like a long study. There was I heard, I don't know if it was him telling me, but someone told me that they knew someone who did like a 2-year study on just practicing technique like intensively for 2 years, and if it really improved your playing. And they basically concluded afterwards that they didn't really become too much of a better musician like this player did. Like they said themselves, you know. I don't know if that's just an anecdote I heard, but I can kind of seeing that being true, because when you divorce it entirely from like a musical context, it becomes like, I don't know. Like when you go back to the musical context, then like what do you do? You know, like
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly. I
but-
just think that's one of the things that I need to work on the most, is that it's I think I lose sight excuse me. I lose sight of the musical intention
right.
or the musical kind of line.
Yeah, but again, if you're doing the technique work every day and diligently, then when you try to achieve the music, it's easier. So
Yeah. You need to, I guess, give, and there's a, you know,
a balance,
give and
yeah,
all that stuff. Yeah. But
for sure.
I think that I need to start just incorporating musical ideas a lot more than I do now. Again, I get too caught up on the hands.
Yeah.
Personally, I just like, oh, that note was not, and it was wrong, and
Yeah.
the buzz and the shift and blah blah. You know?
Right. Yeah. When in reality, that's a lot less important than some of the other things you're doing,
Right, well,
or not doing. Right.
Or sometimes what I do is I'll put a metronome, or I'll start playing a piece, and then, you know, you want to get through a passage fast, and then later, or your teacher or you yourself realize like, oh, the phrase slows down.
Yeah.
I actually have a bunch of time to do that, or the phrase approaches in a different way where you can actually
Yeah.
reach it without so much technical struggle. So, yeah, I'm
Yeah, and
working on finding that balance.
something else I've been thinking about is like how we should actually apply more of our technical time into like our work on technical aspect of playing to executing musical ideas. Like Carlo's been making me do some like work on doing ritordandos and acelerandos, like this kind of phrasing stuff, but in an actual analytic way, you know. And for example, even I had never realized, but I realized he told me last week when I was playing the chaconne that like my cross string trills, I was doing a cross string trill where I thought I was accelerating, but basically I was accelerating a bit and then I was suddenly going double tempo in the cross string trill, you know. Right?
Oh, okay.
And like this kind of thing, and it's like I hadn't thought about like how do I actually, and so he's like, just fix that. Or of course that's how he
Like
teaches.
how to
He's
approach
just
it and exit that, right?
yeah, and his way of teaching is kind of like, this is what the musical thing should be. You're gonna do it, right? And I'm like, okay. So then I was like, how do I fix that? So I actually downloaded like an accelerating metronome on my computer. Like someone had programmed like an accelerating metronome, so you can like specify how long you want it to be and from what tempo to what tempo, and then it just does it. So then I put it on, and I could, you know, control exactly how long do I want this trill to be, and it has to accelerate evenly, and then I had to follow it. And it's that kind of thing where like if I just practice cross string trill exercises all day, it's not actually going to work in practice when I get to that cross string trill.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because like I need to make this cross string trill accelerate, and then also the dynamic. He's like, okay, the last note has to be the quietest, which is the one with the thumb, because I was doing like A-I-M-P, like this kind of 2-string cross string trill, you know. And so the last note had to be the thumb, but it has to be the quietest one, which of course is also hard. So there's just like a lot of things that I think we don't, you know, may not happen in a technical exercises, but we should be making technical exercises in order to achieve these musical things, you know.
Right.
And yeah, I don't know. But like, you can't really put that in a technique book, you know. Like, I mean, I guess you could, but
yeah, but it's hard. Yeah, and it's, I don't know. That's part of the reason why you need a teacher, right? Is to tell you those things, like that. Even put in a book is like you need someone to know them and can keep you on check and be like, oh no, you did this, you did that, you did that. Yeah. And then you know, so that you can later on develop it yourself and, you know, be self-analytical about it. But
yeah, and I think there's that's a hard balance too. I mean, with my students, I feel like I'm trying to shift more to a attitude of helping people find the tools to help themselves. You know,
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
the sense of
Yeah. Of course.
helping them analyze in the moment, and then being like, okay, you take that and you apply it. You know, like I've been trying to say lately to students, even like just do like one page of the piece or half a page, and be like, all these principles apply here and here and here. You're gonna come back next week and do it there. You know.
Right.
And kind of trust them enough to like, you know, put that work in.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard to know exactly when to say that though and when not to.
Yeah. I don't know, man. The balance is the toughest thing in everything.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. By the way, I keep forgetting to mention this to people, but please share the stream if you're enjoying it, because the more you share it, the more it gets heard, and the more Sergio gets heard, which is great for everybody. And also to everyone listening, you can also support the stream. There's a link to donate in the description, and if you donate during the stream or after and specify it, some of it will go to Sergio. So supporting your fellow artists, or if you're not a musician and you're listening, supporting artists in general. But do you want to play some Brouwer now, Sergio?
Yeah.
Shall we do this? What are you going to play for us?
This is
Maybe we can watch it with the right hand cam.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
I can't change during.
Oh, okay.
Like, if it's there, it's there, you know? Like.
So this is one of my favorite Brouwer pieces, I think, actually.
So this is from his Danzas Rituales y Festivas, second volume. This is the first piece. It's not really movements, but it's just the first, piece out of 3. The first one is Danza de los Ancestros.
Mm-hmm.
I think he composed it. I don't want to be wrong, but I want to say it was either 2014. 2014, yeah. And yeah, I mean, it's again one of those pieces that was under the suggestion of Rene Izquierdo, my teacher. I told him I want to play Brouwer, and he's like, "I'll play this one. Not a lot of people play it." So, yeah, I learned it, and then it took me a good minute to kind of get into it, to kind of like it, even, you know.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it felt like I didn't understand it, and then little by little, I started enjoying it more, and starting to kind of listen more in depth of that. So this piece, Brouwer, earlier he composed a concierto de Lieja, I think, and there's some recordings on YouTube. They're kind of hard to find, but it's Costas Cotioli's playing the concerto. I think this is the 4th movement of the concerto, and it has the same theme of
oh yeah. Yeah.
So, which is like, and then Brouwer, there's a little bit of Brouwer kind of explaining the root of that. I think it's from Yoruba.
Yoruban, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some stuff in this that also reminds me of Rito de los Orishas.
Yeah.
Which is also based on Yoruban folk
music and chants or something like that. So,
yeah.
You can actually see Brouwer with a group of people singing that melody. Yeah, oh, yeah, oh.
Ah, cool.
So, and then, so it's not actually like all the same, but it's very, very similar, especially where the main theme starts.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost the same in the concerto. So he took a lot of the things, maybe like 40% of the
musical ideas, yeah,
of this piece, of the ideas exactly, are in the concerto. So, yeah, it's a really fun piece. It's it's a difficult piece for me, so
Yeah, it's
that's
cool.
why I can do that.
You know, another piece that does this is there's actually. Have you heard this concerto by Rodrigo? That's well, I don't know if it's a concerto. I think it is. Yeah, for violin and orchestra. That is basically the guitar toccata.
The toccata, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
rewritten.
Concierto d'Estío.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think that's how people know it, or other
Yeah.
than guitarists.
Yeah.
They know that melody from that concerto.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it was later discovered that he originally wrote it for the guitar first, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like the scores for the guitar was much older than this
Mhm.
concerto. But I mean, it makes sense for the violin. They can really push
The tempo,
they
yeah.
can drive it. Like they can really drive it because of the other voices. But it was cool to listen to that concerto and think like how like the way he orchestrated it, even in the guitar.
Mm-hmm.
He
Yeah.
was already thinking of all these colors, and it's kind of cool to hear that,
Yeah.
like the actual orchestration that he probably heard in his mind
Yeah.
from writing it for the guitar. So
Yeah. Cool. Okay, Danza de los Ancestros. I'm gonna turn
Yeah.
my mic off.
so you wanna like this camera or the right hand camera?
I think this camera's probably better, just so we can
Okay.
see your beautiful face while you're playing. Nice job.
Thank you.
Ooh. That ending, man.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Hopefully the sound wasn't too broken.
Oh, I mean, it pushed the mic a bit, but I think that piece should do that.
Okay.
You know. Man, those slurs at the end are really nuts.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Cool. It looks like fun to play though, actually.
It is, yeah. It is.
Yeah.
But it's a love-hate, I think.
Yeah.
It's one of those
Yeah.
it's one of those pieces like that also it's like you work on this one section and you get it to a certain level and then you realize that the other ones are also like you're like, oh, so you're jumping around like
Yeah.
20 sections that you want to like improve.
Yeah, yeah. I know the
You know,
feeling.
in the same like section even. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, it's a really fun piece. I think I want to keep it for a good minute and just trying to play it better each time. So
Nice.
yeah.
Raul Molana says you should play hot cross buns.
Yeah. I don't know it.
Do you know it?
No. It's one of those things that I feel like I should have learned when I was 5.
Yeah.
Never got around to it.
Hot cross buns. Okay. Nice. What kind of mentality do you like to maintain when you perform? Like, what do you try to go? What kind of headspace do you try to go into performing in?
Yeah. Well, I think in my experience, like the times that I've been the most relaxed or the most kind of at peace with performing and playing is when I was like I felt extremely prepared. I think even when things weren't perfect, I just felt like I did everything that I could. I did everything that I should do, and then like when I perform, I'm like, this is a very honest. This is honest and it's true, and I feel comfortable with what works or what doesn't work, whatever happens. So I think lately I have been a little bit more cautious when I perform. I think I get into like the ideal is to always feel like relax and enjoy music and but lately I think it's been a little tough to just like let go of all the things that it's one of those things like the more you know, right?
Yeah, true.
The more you know, and then you just kind of get into, or I get into the space of like self-analysis as I'm playing, and then I forget right, and then kind of get back to it. So yeah. I like to, for example, just kind of be warming up an hour before at the venue or wherever I'm gonna play, and then during that hour or so, I just play little tiny sections. Try not to play the whole piece, any pieces, and just mostly it's just try to calm myself, and then get into the right headspace of like I'm just gonna share music. No one's here to make to see you
mess
fail.
up. Yeah.
Yeah, like everyone wants you to do great. Everyone wants you to enjoy it so that they can enjoy it as well, So kind of telling myself that like, okay, this is it. Like everyone wants to enjoy it. Everyone wants to just hear good music, and just try to play the best that you can, and it comes out. So.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, the trick, I guess, is like, of course, it's ideal to feel prepared, but it's also, as a professional, as you know, like when you perform a lot, it's like sometimes you're just not as prepared as you would like to be that day or that moment.
Yeah.
If it's busy, if you had a busy day, if you had to teach all day and then go perform somewhere or something, it's like.
Yeah. And it could be that same thing of like the more like even that you prepare as much as you can or you want. Sometimes that it's just not perfect yet.
Yeah.
And you get into that. So I'm separating myself from that. Like I guess separating the practice room from the performance.
Yeah, that's important for sure.
Yeah, and I think I know myself. I need to practice performing. I need to practice.
It's a different thing.
Yeah, definitely, because the practice room is not. You should be practicing to perform, and sometimes we practice to perfect the music, but what for, you know?
Yeah, and I think people notice when you go on stage and you still have that attitude of trying to perfect things in the moment. you
Yeah.
know, it's like it's not a very nice thing to see actually.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, there's a difference between playing and practicing essentially. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So trying to incorporate that, like, practice to play, you know, don't practice to have it perfect, I guess, to know the right notes and to.
yeah. I mean, the problem is in the practice room when you're practicing, you're aiming for that ideal, but then like on stage, that ideal is not even the most important thing. That's the issue, I think.
Right.
Like
Right. Yeah.
when you're there delivering the music, the ideal of perfection, like note for note perfection, is really not
Right.
the highest priority anymore. But of course, in the practice room, it has to be a high priority because then you want to find the weaknesses and eliminate them so that you have like the greatest chance of expressing yourself on stage.
Right.
So, but at the same time, I think maybe more guitarists especially could in the practice room just like take advantage of trying to perfect things other than just playing cleanly,
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's one thing that I really appreciate about working with Carlo is like for him a wrong articulation is often worse actually than a wrong note or a buzz note. So,
I see.
So like in that sense I like that because now I feel like in the practice room I'm a lot more unforgiving with myself on like musical things that really matter for expressing the architecture of the piece,
Right.
Which means that like maybe when I get on stage, if I feel like I can execute those musical things, I feel less concerned about some of the other stuff, like some of the cleanliness,
Yeah,
I don't know. It's there's a lot of things. It's just you can't achieve everything is the problem, I guess.
Right. Like you're focusing or not focusing, but you want to do the intention, right? You want to communicate the intention, the musical intention. And
Yeah. Oh, Jessica has a great question in the chat. You ready? It's going to be a little bit serious. Okay, so first she wants me to brag about our taco making skills because today we made tacos from scratch. We made the tortillas ourselves. We have a tortilla press. We made the salsa ourselves. We grew the lettuce in our garden, our like little terrace, like we have lettuce plants, and we like made the beans from scratch. Yeah. Anyways, that. So first she wants me to do that, and then her question is, what is Sergio's favorite recipe? And he gets to call his mom for the recipe and send it to me. Jessica wants you to send recipes to her.
Recipes for what? For what food?
Your favorite food?
Ooh. I don't know. I'm very basic, man. Like I'm happy with pizza, but like lately, Lane and I have been cooking a lot, right? Because of the situation. So we get some recipes from like a phone app, and I think tomorrow we're gonna make it. Actually, we schedule our meals now.
Yeah, we have the same.
So much time. So tomorrow we're making like meatballs with sweet potato mash and with some like just sauce for the meat sauce and spinach.
Nice. Sweet potato mash sounds great.
Yeah, it's super good. So we just usually cook, and it takes a good hour to prep and cooking, so it's nice. We have a tiny kitchen, so it's sometimes difficult, but
I mean, well, you saw our kitchen. It's not tiny, but it's not big either.
Right.
But
yours is big, man.
Yeah,
It's tiny.
bigger than we have a big apartment for the Netherlands actually.
Let me give you a tour of my house.
Yeah, please do. Okay, that's small.
That's
a tour of my house. Turn the camera.
No, but it's perfect for we don't need anything more.
We're cooking a lot more at home too, obviously, but it's really nice to have the time to make homemade food, like this taco thing. Like usually we do make our own tortillas now because I got the tortilla press for Jessica for Christmas, but then like we don't always like make the beans ourselves, or like the salsa we might buy like jar salsa,
Yeah.
So
I don't even know how to make tortillas, man.
It took me a while to learn.
I'm a terrible example for Mexico.
It's okay.
I'm seriously the worst example. I don't like beans.
You don't like beans? Oh wow, okay. Fair enough.
I don't like beans, and I mean I do like tortillas, and I love tacos.
Yeah.
But
beanless tacos.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was, I don't know. I'm not a good Mexican example. Other than my nationality, uh, yeah, I feel very much like a mix because I grew up in a border town.
Mm-hmm.
I spent a lot of time in the U.S. side,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't know. I guess I'm like South Texan, a
Yeah.
little bit, a
What do you
little
think?
Tex-Mex.
Yeah. What do you think of that? This is kind of an unrelated thing, but those pieces by Joseph Williams, Zia. Do you know these pieces?
The Sia, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, those are so cool. Hey.
yeah. His
Speaking of kind of a hybrid of American and Mexican, like.
yeah, yeah. They're from like based on New Mexico legends, I
Yeah.
believe. I actually in one of 2016, I want to say he was actually one of the guest artists. Uh, a week before René's workshop, and I
Oh,
was in Spain for that time, and he performed those pieces.
cool.
Uh, and yeah, I mean they're great, and they're based on New Mexican folk legends.
Mm-hmm.
So they each have like a preface where he types the legend,
Mm-hmm.
or where he explains the story behind it, and he gave so much to the performance. He would read it in English, and then he would have me read it in Spanish,
Mm-hmm.
and just by 1 minute or 2 minutes of like explaining the piece, people were so much more engaged.
Yeah, yeah.
So the pieces are great, and I think they each focus on a specific extended technique of the
Yeah,
guitar.
that's right. Yeah. I really want to play them. They're super cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So there's like a Campanella one, and then there's like a Bartol Pitts one.
Mm-hmm.
So things like that. Yeah, they're great. I have a copy. He was gracious enough to like. It was really nice to give me a copy.
Nice.
I haven't seen it. I hope he sees it. Like big
Yeah.
shout out to
Yeah, yeah.
Joe.
Oh my God, everyone's being so ridiculous in the chat. Mostly Jessica, but others also. Simon says, question for Sergio: is it safe to eat a whole chicken if I leave it out for 24 hours?
It is. I can attest.
It
to
is. You can attest. Sergio has done it, so just do it,
that. I
Simon.
have.
Film it.
It's I call it a immune system boost.
Immune system boost with Sergio.
It's a test.
Nice.
You're testing your. Yeah.
You're testing your abilities. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Nice.
How else, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
How else are you gonna put your immune system to the test?
Exactly. Oh man, that's terrible. Okay. We're gonna play a little game, Sergio.
Okay.
We're gonna play a game of classical guitar. Would you rather?
Okay.
You know, would you rather, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So first question: would you rather have uneven tremolo or uneven scales in a concert where you have to use both of them more or less equally?
Oh God. Like very bad, right?
Yeah, like either like really galloping tremolo like that, da-da-da, or like really like scales where you just like it's like every fifth note is flubbed, you know.
Like a little horse.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Horse scales.
I think even uneven. Oh God. Maybe uneven tremolo.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Just
Okay.
because I feel like you can fake that one more.
Yeah.
You just slow down a lot, and
Yeah.
yeah, maybe just uneven tremolo.
It's true. Jessica's losing her mind over the fact that you don't like beans in the chat.
Yeah, I'm a bad Mexican man.
I think you're the greatest, but you know, that's
Yeah,
just
I'm not proud. I'm very at peace with that.
with that you don't like
Like,
beans, yeah.
Yeah, like when people hear it, they all lose their mind. Like, what? What kind of Mexican are you? Like, I don't know, man.
I don't know. Okay, so uneven tremolo. I guess uneven tremolo. Like I think who said this? I think it was Steve. Who was like, it evens out at least in the end. You know, like eventually people become used to it, so you get the illusion that it's
Yeah.
like even. You know.
Well, right then, like instead of AMI, PAMI, they would hear AMIP.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense. I
With-
didn't think of that, but that makes sense. That's my answer.
Okay. Yeah. If you had to, which would you pick if you had to learn and memorize one of these pieces in 1 week for a performance? And let's assume that you never played them before. Okay.
Okay.
Would you pick Prelude, Fugue, and Allegro 998 or Introduction and Caprice? 1 week, from like starting
Which one's the introduction and Caprice?
the Rigondi.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, like
maybe the PFA.
The PFA, really?
just because I've heard it so much.
But imagine like memorizing the Allegro in a week, like, and the fugue. Imagine not having memory slips in
No,
the fugue.
the fugue, yeah, the Allegro is a beat. Uh,
Yeah.
But I think at least the fact that it's such an earworm that you
Okay.
have it there, you can at least like
Yeah.
you forget the piece and you're like nah nah nah.
Yeah. But like the fugue is just there's so many traps in the fugue, you know.
Yeah. No, I haven't played any of them, either of those. But like I said, I think just maybe
Because the Regandi, at least, I feel like would be easier to memorize, even if it's hard to execute. You know, I don't know. I don't know. But it's also really long. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I've heard the PFA so much that I think just knowing it brings me a little bit of
You could do
peace.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you rather? Okay, you have to play a concerto that you never played before. Would you rather on stage have to sight read it on stage in a concert? Like, let's say the Ponce Concerto or like Tedesco Concerto. Sight read it on stage, or would you rather go on stage and play it perfectly, but you shit your pants really noticeably?
Maybe sight read it.
Really? Okay, you're only the second person to say that. Everyone else says really shit their pants and play it perfectly. Yeah. Tim Beattie said better to shit your pants than shit the bed. But why sight read? I mean, I guess you're reading.
I don't know. I guess I'd rather be known as the guy like he butchered he was sight reading it, right? But he butchered the concerto.
Right. Okay.
Rather than be the guy who's like, man, it was an awesome concert, but he shit his pants. No.
Yeah.
I feel like you get more credit on the sight reading.
Okay. I mean, at least any parts that you play right, it's like, that's impressive.
Yeah, it's like you get that like,
Yeah.
It's like, it's okay. It's all right.
Yeah, for sure.
The other one is there's always at the end. It's
there's a like smell hanging around your reputation, you know. Would you rather play a concert with a really small audience that like really appreciates what you're doing, or like a huge audience that doesn't really respond very much?
I don't know. Maybe bigger audience.
Yeah.
Just to kind of try to reach out.
Yeah.
And
like make a bigger impact.
Yeah, just kind of think like maybe 2-3 people are like, maybe I do like classical guitar, you know. Maybe I'll listen to it more. Maybe, you know.
Right.
Rather when people appreciate it, and I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Right? Like when people love it, you feel more like you want to do them good, you know. Play it better because they appreciate it. But maybe the other one just to make I guess like a reach out for classical guitar and kind of take that under like I want to reach out to most people.
Yeah.
So that I can kind of learn to appreciate the guitar or the classical guitar.
Cool.
Yeah.
How about, would you rather play only Giuliani or only Villalobos for 1 year? It's all you're allowed to play.
I feel Giuliani has a lot more music.
Exactly, he does. But then you have to play Giuliani only for a year.
Yeah. Now maybe Villalobos, man.
Yeah.
You can't dominate those 12 etudes like in a year all perfect. Maybe some people can, but
Yeah, it would be hard.
yeah, that's a challenge, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like if you play just Villalobos, man, you're in for a hell of a year.
Yeah, I feel like you're also in for, well, Giuliani, you're in for a hell of a year if you do like the Rossinianas and stuff.
Right.
But Villalobos, I feel like you have a better chance at playing concerts also, maybe.
Yeah.
You know, because like, I don't know, those preludes and stuff, like.
Yeah, you play that whole book. That
That Max Eschig book. Yeah, you just carry that around everywhere. It's like your Bible, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it probably should be anyways, but.
Yeah.
Would you rather only be allowed to physically practice for 1.5 hours a day, or 4 times a week? For as long as you want those 4 times.
Probably every day, no? It's consistency is key.
Yeah, even if it's not so long.
I mean, for an hour and a half, you can make a lot of damage if you organize your thoughts.
Yeah.
Like, and it's also, it's like you said, it's physical. You can. I don't do it, so I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, I practice thinking about the music.
Yeah.
I don't.
I
don't
do
wanna-
score study.
yeah, exactly. But
I've done
but
some
you
score
can-
study. Yeah.
But essentially, you can do that.
Yeah. I have
So
done
if you
some.
Say like, when you say like, oh, I only have 1 hour that I have the guitar with me, 1 hour and a half, then you can, I don't know, try to sing the music and all that stuff.
Yeah, check memory, visualize. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I don't do it. So.
So fair enough. Okay, I have a question. Do you want to just you have to go soon, right? So maybe we should just do one more performance.
Yeah.
Or do you
Yeah.
have? Okay.
I do want to play this last piece because I haven't played it in public.
Ah,
No.
nice.
I did play it twice, and I regretted the first one.
You regret it first? Well, hopefully you don't regret this one.
Yeah, no, because it was also, I mean, it was poor judgment. I played two pieces that I didn't know, or that I was working on,
Yeah.
like simultaneously, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So neither of them went like great.
Yeah.
And then I was talking to some people, and they're like, "Well, why would you do that, bro? Like, you go for a safe one,
And then you
use one safe one, and then you risk the other one. Like you
Yeah.
play the other one where it's a little where it's a little bit more. Yeah, like risk at least. You either feel good about the one that you know already, and then use that confidence to play through the second one, or.
Yeah.
So yeah, that one, and then the second time went a little better.
Mm-hmm. Well, the third time's the charm. So. But I guess we'll also really quickly do the lightning round while you're warming up there. You can just tell me answers to these quick rapid fire things.
Okay.
And to everyone listening, please share the stream. Again, I keep forgetting. I'm really bad at this like promotional thing where you like plug every 20 minutes, like share the stream.
Yeah, I'm just like having a nice conversation.
Exactly, that's the problem.
Like
Also, my webcam is doing something. Oh, there we go. Okay, so please share the stream. Check out the donation link, etc., etc. Also, check out Sergio in general, his playing.
My one video on YouTube.
Your one video. You're gonna upload more, right, man?
Yeah.
But okay, lightning round. Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Dogs. I could have predicted that. I think. This is what I keep saying. Everyone who answers, I'm like, you could have guessed that. But like, I think that, yeah, I don't know.
I don't love cats.
Bream
they're
or
cool. I like cats, but.
okay. Bream or Scovia?
Bream.
My webcam keeps unfocusing. Okay. Bream. Okay. Restoration of the composer's intentions or personal interpretation?
Composer's intentions.
Liszt or Chopin?
Liszt.
Free stroke or rest stroke?
Free stroke.
Breakfast or dinner?
Dinner.
Carbon or nylon strings?
Carbon.
Pizza or pasta?
What?
Pizza or pasta?
Pizza.
South Park or The Simpsons?
South Park or what?
The Simpsons.
Simpsons.
Okay. Bogdanovich or Brouwer?
Brouwer.
There's three options for this one. Double top, lattice, or traditional single top?
I play on a lattice. So
Me too.
Yeah. Well, it's not mine. I shouldn't say it, but yeah, I play on a lattice.
Lattice buds. The Dario or Savarez?
Whichever one wants to give me sponsorship.
Okay. You heard it here, Dario and Savarez. You have to fight over
You heard
him.
it here first. No, I like Savares. I don't know. I do actually a combination of the Dario basses and Savares trebles.
Oh, okay. I do all the Dario. Solo or chamber?
I feel like I need to do more chamber, but right now solo.
Okay, mammals or reptiles?
Mammals.
Contemporary or classical romantic repertoire?
Romantic. Classical romantic.
Campanella or regular scales?
Regular.
Sweet or salty?
Sweet. Maybe.
Horowitz or Rubinstein?
Horowitz.
Okay. Thibaut Garcia or Andrea De Vitis?
Andrea.
Muffins or brownies?
Muffins.
Baroque or Renaissance repertoire?
Baroque.
Marchandila or Zoran Dukic?
That's hard, man.
I
Maybe
know.
Soren.
And cedar or spruce? The most important.
Cedar. I play on a cedar.
Yeah, me too.
Should say cedar.
Okay, so you're going to play Scarlatti now?
Yeah. Sonata 491.
And this is your arrangement or no?
No, no. This is a David Russell's arrangement.
Right.
Minus one note.
Minus one note. We have to guess which one. If anyone in the
Yeah.
chat can guess which one, I'll give you a prize.
No, I don't know. There's several. There's more than one note, but I was like, maybe not.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's hear it. Very nice.
Thanks.
Awesome.
Thank you.
That's a good one. Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's a difficult one.
Yeah, no kidding. Some cool trills. Cool
Yeah,
cross string stuff.
The double stops are like.
Yeah.
They're
No kidding.
impossible.
Yeah. Awesome. Nice. Well, it's been a pleasure having you here, Sergio.
Likewise, thank you. Thank you
It's
for
been awesome.
inviting me.
Yeah, I miss you, man. I miss our times in Carrion.
I know, man. We had a ton of fun, and then later with Lane and I went to visit you guys. It was awesome.
Yeah, that was so great. Thank you for coming here.
Yeah.
It was cool. And yeah, I mean, I wasn't gonna make it to Carrion this summer because I was supposed to be. We're supposed to have our wedding then, but in the end, no one can go, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know if it's officially.
Oh, I guess I don't know. Maybe yeah, I shouldn't say anything. I guess it might not be officially.
Yeah.
I don't actually know anything, but I just
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
I've been meaning to ask Renee, but I just haven't had the
I
chance.
have a hard time
Hasn't come
believing
up.
that Europe is going to be like possible to come to really from North America.
Yeah. How are you guys? Are you guys doing okay?
We're managing. I mean, yeah, the Netherlands is doing pretty well. Like the health system is actually coping pretty well here so far.
Okay.
And from what I understand, the numbers of cases have gone down. But I mean, yeah, it's
Yeah. But also, the area where I'm at, Milwaukee, I know the numbers are like the highest in the state, but I don't feel like the system's reaching full capacity yet, which is good.
That's good. Yeah, yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's what you got to hope for. I mean,
Yeah.
thankfully.
Sometimes I feel a little bit out of it because no one close to me has been affected. So I'm like, that's great.
Mhm.
So, and we just keep in contact with our families, Lena and I. So
Yeah.
everything's been pretty good.
Everyone's healthy, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we had neighbors who had symptoms, but they stayed indoors, and they're a younger couple, and they were both fine in the end. So, but like it's just like I don't know. Traveling is going to be tricky for a while, I think.
That's what I've been
We'll see.
speculating.
Yeah, we'll see. But I hope that one day we'll be in the same area again soon.
Yeah, man. Yeah, for sure.
And for everyone who's tuned in, please tune in on Tuesday. I'm going to have my first double stream with, well, not double stream, but stream with two people, which is Phil Goldenberg and Hannah Murphy. We're both awesome.
Oh, nice.
So they're going to come on Tuesday together all the way from New York. And then Filipe Neves Corral on Friday next week, who's a great Portuguese guitarist.
Awesome, man.
Also based in the Netherlands. So everyone tune in for those. And Sergio's episode will also be on YouTube later as an archive, so you can listen to that. So
Yep. Thanks.
thanks y'all. I'm gonna
Awesome.
stop the stream here.